Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. We hope you enjoyed your holiday break. It's time to get back to basketball. Welcome to KSL Game Night Live Rewind's coverage of high school sports. This is Copper Hills Basketball on Game Night Live Rewind, presented by Extra Space Storage. And tonight, live from the Charger Arena here at Draper, Utah, it's the 8-3 Copper Hills Grizzlies taking on the 9-2 Corner Canyon Chargers in our first Friday game of the calendar year 2022. And alongside our broadcast partner, Tyler Gibb, my name is Alexander Timalip, and I turn to you, Tyler. The first thing I say to you before I say anything is Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, Alex. Great to be back in the gym. Should be a great game tonight with two competitive teams that have been successful so far.
And now we know that these two teams have been successful, but let's also remember Copper Hills last Thursday versus Farmington. They put up a let's just be kind and say a less than stellar performance, because they had an uncharacteristically sloppy performance against the Phoenix. They never found an offensive rhythm, and that is going to be required tonight against the Corner Canyon team that is very good defensively.
You're exactly right. They were sloppy on both ends of the floor, I thought. They got beat in transition, both offensively and defensively. I thought they didn't make very smart decisions and kind of rushed things down the floor. You saw a lot of turnovers because of that, and Farmington was able to make a couple big runs in transition, which got Farmington a big win.
And let's remember also, the Grizzlies allowed that 15-3 run near the midpoint of the second quarter against the Phoenix. That proved to be the death knell. They trailed by as many as 20. They never really got back into the game in that one.
Yeah, I'm looking at Quincy Hills tonight as a player for Copper Hills that really needs to have a sharp game. He kind of controls the offense. He's very versatile. Look for him to be smart, get the ball distributed so that Copper Hills can weather any storms that Corner Canyon has.
Now let's remember for Corner Canyon, Tyler, speaking of which, their last game came almost 21 days ago, a win over Thunder Ridge in a tournament up in Idaho, but they've had a very impressive victory. They had a victory over Kimball, Texas, 84-81 in overtime, and their two losses this season against Bingham and Durango in the Holiday Hoop Fest up in Lehigh, they were both by a combined 6 points.
A brutal non-conference schedule. They came out 9-2. Let's hope that those 21 days off doesn't hurt the Chargers tonight.
The players are ready at center court. We are underway, and it's Kyson Hymas to McCoy Langston to take the first possession. Quincy Hills crosses over out front. Moyer came off the high post, back to Langston. Hills on the right side, matched up here. Drives down and the pass is stolen away. On the floor, spin move. And a trip foul is called. And that's on Nathan Sorensen, who picks up the foul, his first, on Jackson Roberts, who stole the pass away. 7.5 left, just underway here. Here's Max Toombs. Off the high post, back outside. Here's Toombs again. Against Hymas, puts up the floater right of the key, airballs it. And the rebound saved underneath by Sorensen, and it goes to Quincy Hills. Langston out front. Had a very quiet game against Farmington last Thursday, had just 9 points. Here's his first try of the game for 3. That's off the back rim, and the rebound is captured by Ty Neibauer. Good fake of the pass. Roberts down the lane. Will not go. Left it short off the rim, and here comes Hills. Hills drives inside. Wave off the basket. Officials say it's on the floor.
It looked like that was going to be an and one for Hills. I like his mentality to attack. First two possessions, they weren't able to get inside. Hills makes it a point. Get inside, draw some contact.
Yeah, and we heard it last week during the broadcast, right, Tyler? Like, John Watkins said they need a leader to step up in certain situations. There's Hymas off the cut to the baseline.
And Luke Moyer is one of those leaders. A great find from Moyer. Hymas aware on the cut. Moyer gets him open.
6:22 left, and we have our first points of the game. Belongs to Copper Hills. Out front, here's Max Toombs. Step back three on the way behind the screen, off the mark. And Hymas grabs the rebound. Sorensen, double team, nice pass, and the lay-in by Hymas.
Beautiful pick and roll from Copper Hills. Both defenders stay with the ball, and Hymas slips to the hoop for an easy two.
Here's Jackson Roberts out front, gets the screen, drives down off the lane, left-hander will not go. And here comes Sorensen, pass ahead to Hymas. They have numbers in transition. Hymas all the way in, gets it to go.
Kyson Hymas was a guy I was looking at tonight that needed to have a big game. He's a scrappy player, 6 early points at the hoop.
And now it's one of the keys to the game we're looking at, Tyler. I'm looking at my notes right now. It's winning in transition, just 2 fast break points for Copper Hills in that loss Thursday against Farmington. As the Chargers just can't buy a bucket from the floor here in the first couple of minutes. 5:13 left to go. It's 6-0. Moyer underneath.
What a find by McCoy Langston. Copper Hills is cutting to the basket. They are finding that action and creating space inside. Corner Canyon needs to figure out how to stop these cuts and drives to the hoop.
What a start here for Copper Hills. 8-0, Tyler, against Corner Canyon. And this is a team, by the way, let me point out, Tyler, they have now equaled as many points they've had in the first quarter that they had last Thursday against Farmington.
Against Farmington, they weren't able to get much going. Moyer had an off night shooting the ball. It looks like they made an emphasis over this past week to really get those cutters, move into the basket. Those layups are coming off of cuts and attacking the hoop. And for Corner Canyon, I really like the matchup that Jaden Farrow has inside on Luke Moyer. Farrow's an athletic, versatile big. I want to see Farrow get inside and try to punish Moyer in the paint.
Corner Canyon has missed all of their shots so far. Max Toombs underneath hits the bottom of the rim, but he does draw the foul. Foul is called against Kyson Hymas, his first, team second, with 4:57 left here in the first quarter. And Toombs hits the first free throw, and finally the Chargers are on the board here.
Toombs is one of those big guards. He's got a thick build. He can get inside and create space, averages over 20 points a game. Look for him and Farrow to work inside to the paint, get some easy baskets to open up for that three-point shooting.
Off the missed free throw, here comes Copper Hills. Moyer on the perimeter, back to Hymas. And we're going to get a foul away from the basketball. And it's going to be called against Max Toombs, and that's his first, with 4:42 left here in the first quarter. Sorensen off the inbound for three. That's off the back rim. High for the rebound is Jaden Farrow. Looking for the outlet, gives it over to Roberts. Roberts on the baseline. Oh my, he stepped on the end line. Boy, did he step on the end line. I saw it from right up here, Tyler. Half his foot was in the paint there.
I really like Jackson Roberts' game. He's a great attacker, great at dishing the ball out to his teammates. Looks like he's forced a few of these drives so far. Expect him to turn things around. Well,
as soon as you say that, Roberts just picked up his second foul on a hand check about 26, 27 feet away from the basket. And that's going to force an early substitution for Corner Canyon. Taylor Harris is forced to come in. And you just said it. Roberts is not on his rhythm here in the first couple of minutes here.
He's really not. I like what he does for this offense. Him and Toombs, they really get things going. We need them to turn it around if we want to see anything different.
Meanwhile, off the putback by Luke Moyer. It's now 10-1 Copper Hills here with under 4 left in the first. Three partially deflected, and here's Hills with the rebound. Looking to push. Langston in transition. Open. Sorensen, three.
A complete turnaround from last week at Farmington. It was Copper Hills that was getting beat in transition. Tonight, they are punishing Corner Canyon.
And another turnover. Here comes Sorensen. Fakes, drives, Hymas down the lane. Well, what a difference a week can make, Tyler. My goodness. That's 8 already for Hymas to the basket. Harris can't finish. Langston against Max Toombs. Toombs is the only point for Corner Canyon. The Chargers have missed 5 of their first 6. We're going to get another touch foul on the high post here. And a mass sub coming in for Dan Lunt. And I do mean a mass substitution. Look at this.
Lunt is not happy with what he is seeing, sending a message to his starters as he replaces the whole lineup. It is rare that you see that in a first quarter.
Yeah, with 2:57 left, it's 15-1 Copper Hills. Not at all what we were expecting. Out front, here are the Grizzlies again. Quincy Hills at the top. Hills, step back 3 on the way. Too strong, and the rebound pulled down by Corner Canyon. That's Donovan Averite that pulled down the rebound. Again, a wholesale sub just about 6 minutes into the game. And we're going to get an offensive foul.
You bring in a whole set of new subs, guys that are inexperienced at the varsity level. The game gets moving quick. Get called for a moving screen. Let's see if Corner Canyon can close out this quarter, trim this 14-point lead. They need to.
I mean, I don't even want to know what the stats are right now, Tyler, but they obviously would be one-sided in favor of the Grizzlies at this point. I mean, they have come out like gangbusters here in the first quarter. Langston around the perimeter. Here's Hymas back in the low block. Here's Moyer. Moyer backs down, jump hook in the lane. Yes!
With Farrow out of the game, Moyer has that size advantage. He's a strong build at 6'6", just backs him down to the basket.
Here's an answer back 3 try. That's no good. Well, I almost kind of caught myself there. I said it too quick. Here are the bounce. Here's Harris to the basket. Count it. And the contact.
Great hustle play by Everest. Romney gets on the floor and steals the ball from Moyer. Flips it up to Tate, who dishes it off to Harris for a big and one basket.
That's the first field goal, I think, by my count, Tyler, that Corner Canyon's made in this first quarter.
The only other point was the free throw by Toombs. So the first field goal comes more than 6 minutes into the game.
1:46 left in this. I mean, is it okay to call it a stunning first quarter? I mean, I don't think this is what we all expected coming out of this game.
I did not expect Copper Hills to come out and blow the doors out in this first quarter. Corner Canyon impressed a lot in their non-conference schedule so far.
Another and one for Luke Moyer. It is 19-3 with 1:26 left, and now Moyer has 8 points.
You see the strength from Moyer as he just takes it at the junior Romney. Gets his way in for the and one bucket and a 17-point lead for the Grizzlies.
Micah Nordgren checks in for the first time for Copper Hills. 1:26 left to go. 20-3 in favor of the Grizzlies. Averite gets the dribble handoff. Drives down to the high post. Wild shot, no good, and a late whistle. And a foul called against Micah Nordgren.
That was called for 15. Nordgren.
Not a whole lot of places to go for Averett on that drive, but he takes it strong, draws contact, and gets to the line for 2.
Averett to the line. His first free throw is good. 20-4, Copper Hills by 16 with 75 seconds left here in the first quarter. Second shot also good. 20-5 with 1:12 left here in the quarter. Here comes Soren. Here comes Shepard across the timeline. Hills At to Sorensen. In the corner, wide open, Shepard for three.
Sorensen with a great driving kick to Shepard, who was spotting up, waiting for that one in the corner. Wide open three, splashdown.
23-5. Harris trying to answer, left it short, Hills the rebound. And with 36 seconds left here in the first quarter, you'd have to assume Copper Hills will hold for the final shot.
Copper Hills in no rush. Watkins calls for the last shot with 25 seconds to go in a stunning first quarter.
So stunning that we just heard the Copper Hills student section. In case people didn't hear it, they were all chanting at the student section over here in front of us, "Why so quiet?" Hills behind the back, gets the screen, back out. Shepard drives back to Hills with three, puts up the three-pointer, no good, tip up, will not go, and that ends a stunning, who said this was coming?
Nobody saw this result after 8 minutes. Corner Canyon just looks like they have had 21 days off of basketball, and Copper Hills looks like they're coming off an absolute letdown 8 days ago. One team showed up, the other did not.
Well, we'll see if anything changes in the second quarter. We'll be back after this timeout. You're watching Copper Hills basketball on the Game Night Live Rewind Network, presented by Extra Space Storage, part of KSL Game Night Live Rewind's coverage of high school sports.
Jake said these are awesome for studying.
Line. You shouldn't ever take someone else's medication.
Know your script. Talk to your kids about the dangers of sharing prescriptions.
Back here at the Charger Arena, ready to start the second quarter between Copper Hills and Corner Canyon. Alongside my broadcast partner, Tyler Gibb, I'm Alexander Tumulip. It has been quite an astonishing first quarter, to say the least. We'll get you caught up on everything that's gone on in just a second. In the low block, turnaround hook on the way, and that is good, and the foul counted for Everest Romney.
Romney with a size mismatch inside, going up against the smaller Micah Nordgren, and just puts a nice spin move to the basket to get things started in the second quarter on the right note.
Romney hits the free throw, and that makes it 23-8. And Tyler, I now turn to you, and I hasten to say that Dan Lunt's team has got to show some fight here. I mean, you said it after the first quarter ended. They look like they've had 21 days off in between games.
They do, and Dan Lunt, as we saw, turned to the bench and got a whole new lineup in. With about 3 minutes left in the first quarter, we saw 5 come in and 5 come out. I'm sure Lunt didn't have that in the game plan an hour ago, but he needed a spark off the bench. He's got a little bit from some of these guys playing hard, but they're down by 15 still.
Luke Moyer will check back in. The last foul called was the 7th team foul on Corner Canyon, so it'll be free throws the rest of the way. It'll be a long second quarter. Hayden Shepard's first free throw is good, and that makes it 24-8, and he'll earn the bonus. With 7:22 left, just underway here in the second.
You know, Alex, Copper Hills has just been the more physical team tonight. That's why we see them get into the hoop, get into the foul line. They've been physical and aggressive, showing a little fight after what was a disappointing loss to Farmington.
And they're in their offensive rhythm, Tyler, that's for sure. Another one of our keys that we were looking at as that shot rattles out. Romney goes back up. He gets it blocked from behind by Hymas. And here comes Langston. Hymas, a lot of people in front of him, finds Luke Moyer and lays it in off the glass.
Hymas with his eyes up, Moyer running the floor hard, and he gets it paid off as Hymas finds him for an easy 2.
So it's not the guys Quincy Hills and McCoy Langston doing the scoring like we expected. It's instead the two other guys, Moyer and Hymas, that are doing the scoring. Great flyby and the block by Hymas on Harris. Here comes Langston out of the pack. Moyer cannot control the outlet. And the ball turns over back to Corner Canyon with 6:31 to go.
Corner Canyon subs a lot of the starters back into the game, but let's talk about Kyson Hymas for a moment. Hymas is a scrappy player. He's a junior. Makes a lot of hustle plays, a lot of rebounds. And we saw him there come over for that weak side block.
Toombs almost got it taken away. Drives down on the way, the floater. Air ball. Looking at the official, wanted the call, didn't get it. Here comes Langston. Langston in the high post. Tries to step through, and he looks like he walked, and he did.
Max Toombs looks to be forcing things a little bit. Probably excited to be back on the floor after 3 weeks off, but he's only at 1 point through the first quarter. Normally averages 20.
Yeah, and that 1 point was a free throw. He's missed all 3 of his field goal attempts. Backdoor pass deflected and stolen away. Moyer then tries to dribble. It goes off the back foot of Romney. And Sorensen will reset from out front. And now we're going to get a hand check about 15 feet away from the basket. And if that's on Everett Romney, and it is, that's his second. With 5:43 left here in the first half, the 8th team foul called on Corner Canyon. Warriors' first free throw is perfect.
I thought Corner Canyon would have the advantage on the inside tonight with Farrow inside, but Moyer and Hymas have proved to be physical. They're getting their hands up, causing deflections, and it's been Copper Hills that's really been doing the work in the paint.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, you can see Corner Canyon taking a lot of jump shots in the first quarter and a half of this one with 5:30 left in a 20-point game. And also to your point, Tyler, that's part of the reason why they're behind is that they're getting deflections, Copper Hills. They are like that. Here's a 3-on-2. Moyer all the way in. Can't finish with the jam. Dribble handoff here. Back into the corner. Here's Farrow. Step through to the basket. Can't finish. Goes back up. And he is fouled by Shepard.
Farrow stands at 6'8". We haven't seen him do much inside. If Corner Canyon wants to get things going tonight, they need to go inside to Farrow. Get him some touches in the paint. Don't let him just live out at the three-point line. They've got other three-point shooters out there in Tyler Buruston and Max Toombs. Let Farrow work inside, kick it back out for the threes, and get things going that way.
Yeah, I hasten to say, Tyler, I don't think Farrow has had very many touches in this first half. That's one of the first times I can remember him not only getting a touch as he hits the second free throw, but also being aggressive and driving to the basket, where he thrives.
I like to see the aggressiveness. He's hit some threes throughout the year. He's only made 5, though, so not much worth living out at the three-point line for Farrow. Let Buruston and Toombs do that.
Here are the Grizzlies in possession. Langston to Moyer, jumper right of the key. Left it short. There's Farrow on the rebound. Bounce pass to Toombs. They could have numbers here. Toombs against Langston. Drives in. No good. But he does draw the foul.
I thought that was a smarter attack by Toombs. We've seen him earlier tonight try to force some inside. That one was more on the break in transition. You're catching the defense on the back of their feet. Strong take by Toombs. Goes to the free throw line where you've got to put those in. But look for him to keep being aggressive.
It would also help, Tyler, if they're making their free throws right now. If I got my count right, they've only made 2 or 3. And Toombs misses both.
When you're not in rhythm, it's important to get the easy ones, the layups and the free throws, to try to establish something. Corner Canyon hasn't been able to do that at the free throw line.
Langston out front, back to Sorensen, launches the 3. Yahtzee! 31-9. And 6 for Sorensen. Here's Toombs. Almost looked like he walked. Back out it comes, though. Here's Romney. Into the block. Farrow. That pass deflected and stolen away. Hymas coming the other way, left-handed. Spins back to Hills. And they'll reset back out front. Blow by Quincy Hills in, blocked by Romney. And then Hills comes back and commits the foul on Farrell.
Let's talk about that stretch for a moment ago by Nathan Sorensen. He gets the screen up top, pops up for the three, knocks it down, and then the weak side defense stepping over on the toss inside, causes the deflection, gets a steal going the other way.
As Micah Norgren checks back in, Tyler, that was one of the keys we were looking at for Corner Canyon, is to value every possession. They thrive off their defense, Copper Hills, and clearly right now, that defense is causing a lot of problems for Dan Lunt.
Copper Hills is getting after it. You have to credit them getting their hands up in the passing lane, stepping over on the weak side. Impressive performance that Copper Hills has to be happy with.
And like I said, what a difference a week makes. McCoy Langston out front now running the point in place of Quincy Hills, who takes his spot on the bench. Langston drives, left hand, a scoop shot, yes!
Strong take by Langston and nobody inside for Corner Canyon on that help.
That's his first points, if you can believe it. Here's Taylor Harris. Back out, Farrell launches, long range three. That doesn't go. Romney goes up for the board. Scrap board on the floor, and Hymas comes away with it. Sorensen, open look, three-pointer. Too strong, it hit the bottom of the stretch cord on top of the stanchion. And it's dead by rule with 3 minutes and a second left here in this second quarter. Farrell around the perimeter, back it comes. Toombs off the curl, here's the jumper, that's no good. And the rebound is taken down there by Logan Whitehour, who just checked in. Whitehour, Langston, extra pass, Hymas down the baseline, blocked by Romney. Deflected out of bounds and will stay here.
There hasn't been much that's gone right for Corner Canyon tonight, but Everest Romney has put together a good stretch here. He's made some hustle plays, comes up with the block there. I've liked what I've seen from Romney in his time. You know, he hasn't gotten a lot of time this year, so he's impressing in his time tonight, maybe earning himself a role in the future.
He possibly could. And kind of going along with what you said, he's appeared in all 11 games this season, but probably he didn't expect he was going to come in at the midpoint of the first quarter down by almost 20.
He came in the midpoint, and he's played a majority of this first half, providing a spark for Corner Canyon, who really needs one.
Has a couple of blocks to go with a couple of rebounds. I guess the single point really doesn't mean anything. Any way you can take it at this point. Well, I guess almost, as we were talking about him just a few seconds ago, now he commits the offensive foul.
And that's where you see a little bit of that inexperience. You know, you're playing at 7 o'clock. Game speeds up a little bit when you're playing, at the highest level. Gets a little bit ahead of himself there.
Langston behind a couple of screens. Against Toombs. Back out. Hymas, wide open three. Yes!
Kyson Hymas continues his near perfect half for Copper Hills. What a night for him.
11 for Hymas. And it's all going roses right now for Copper Hills. 36-11 with 1:46 left in the first half. Langston down the lane. Pass deflected out of bounds by Harris. It will stay here. And I'm just looking here at Dan Lunt, Tyler, as Everest Romney's going to check out. I'm looking at Dan Lunt down here. What do you do?
He looks like he is, riling his thoughts right now, trying to figure out what he's going to say to these guys at halftime.
I mean, as Moyer is fouled right there by Farrell, picks up his first. If you're a coach, Tyler, what do you say to a team that's down by 25 and had just gotten completely outplayed this entire first half?
I'll tell you one thing. Copper Hills is not 26 points better to this point on paper than Corner Canyon. This comes down to hustle and defense. Corner Canyon hasn't been able to get anything going inside. Copper Hills is moving, cutting, finding the open guy. It's coming easy to him. Everything looks forced from Corner Canyon.
Max Toombs lays
As
it
we
in.
speak about the, driving, cutting, getting things open inside, we see Toombs with a great cut. Harris finds him going back door. That's what Corner Canyon needs to do if they want a chance at working their way back in the second half.
75 seconds left in the first. 37-13. That's Toombs' first field goal. Langston, spin move, and his pivot foot slid. So with 1:08 left to go here in the first half, I'm pretty sure Dan Lunt just wants to get to the locker room at this point. And some of these players might just want to hit the whole reset button. Harris to the basket.
Quick spark by Harris, finds Toombs on the last possession for an easy bucket, and goes and gets himself his own 2 points right there. See if they can trim this, maybe 20 or less by halftime, regroup.
45 and counting left here in the first half. 37-15 in favor of Copper Hills. In what's been a truly stunning first half.
Smart move by Coach John Watkins. They're in no hurry. They've got a 22-point lead. They're going to settle, or what looked like for the last minute. Instead, they drive in, get to the foul line. Strong take there. It looked like they were going to hold it out for the rest of the half and take a 22-point lead or more into half, but get to the foul line there on a strong take.
Logan Whitehour will step to the line. Josh Pomerenning and Stephen Grover set to check in for Copper Hills. First shot is good. 38-15. With 23 seconds left here in the first half. Second shot also good. And it's 39-15 with 19 seconds left here in the first half. Pass deflected in the post. Toombs doubled up. Looks for a lane. Gets it back out. Corner three on the way. And knocking it down is Tate Staley. With two and with one, here's Moyer. Pulls up the half quarter. Off the mark. And that is how the first half comes to an end. A truly astonishing first half. It's been a tale of just two teams here tonight, Tyler. One clearly flustered by last week's clunker of a game against Farmington. The other truly does look like they were off for 21 days.
Yeah, the story of the night has been Kyson Hymas. He has 11 at the break. That ties his season high, and we're only halfway through the game. There's been no answer inside for what Copper Hills is doing to Corner Canyon. Jaden Farrow needs to come out physical. He needs to own the paint, both on offense and defense. They got nothing inside from him on offense, and we're getting killed with the backdoor cuts, attacking the basket on the other end of the floor.
And to your point, Tyler, Max Toombs, second leading scorer in the region, has just 3 points at halftime. 3.
When you have Max Toombs and Jaden Farrow, you have the ability to run one of the most dynamic pick and rolls in the state. Let's see some of that coming out in the second half. Look for Toombs to kick it out to Farrow, kick it to Burston. We didn't hear Burston's name at all in the first half. He can shoot the three. Try to get some game going, two-man game going with Toombs and Farrow.
We'll have to see what the coaches are going to say at the half. Clearly, John Watkins will be happy. Clearly, Dan Lunt is just trying to find answers. And they're going to need them in the second half. We're at halftime with the score, if you can believe it, Copper Hills 39 and Corner Canyon 18. We'll take a break for halftime, and we'll be back with some halftime stats and some thoughts and the start of the third quarter. You're watching KSL Game Night Live Rewind's coverage of high school sports. This is Copper Hills basketball on Game Night Live Rewind, presented by Extra Space Storage. There are not many times, folks, where you are left kind of just wondering what words you have to describe what's going on, but that's it right now. If you're just joining us, Copper Hills really is leading Corner Canyon 39-18. And the story of the first half, as you're rejoined here on KSL Game Night Live Rewind, this is Copper Hills Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network, presented by Extra Space Storage, is the play of Kyson Hymas and Luke Moyer. Tyler Gibb, my broadcast partner, alongside me, Alexander Timalev. Tyler, you just told me that, if I'm hearing this right, there's no way Kyson Hymas and Luke Moyer single-handedly outscored Corner Canyon in the first half. There's no way.
I'm having a hard time believing it either, but it has been a two-man wrecking crew at Charger Arena with Kyson Hymas and Luke Moyer. At 6'5", Hymas, and 6'6", Moyer, they caused some matchup problems for a lot of teams, and they're proving that tonight. Getting inside for easy buckets, it really hasn't been that hard for them to put up a combined 24 points. They're getting layups, they're moving in transition, running the floor, and their teammates are rewarding them for getting down the floor with easy baskets.
And you know, one of the things we were also looking at, speaking of getting down the floor quickly, was for Corner Canyon to stop the ball. They can't get into a track meet with these Grizzlies, and they had some trouble stopping transition against Durango in one of their final games before the Christmas break back in December of last year. It's clear right now that not only can they not stop the ball in transition, they just can't stop anybody.
They can't. It's been 16 minutes of running up and down the floor chasing the Grizzlies, who have just been working them over. We saw 8 days ago Farmington put on a clinic in transition against Copper Hills. Corner Canyon, they've had 21 days off, and you can see it. Not a lot of rhythm offensively or defensively.
Yeah, and you and I were just talking about it, right, in the break when we were on the silent mic here. You and I were just looking at each other just stunned, because we are seeing a complete role reversal, Tyler, of what happened last week. Farmington was the one that was doing this to Copper Hills. Tonight, it's the Grizzlies who are doing this to, of all teams, the Chargers of Corner Canyon on their home floor.
And Corner Canyon, given their schedule so far, if you come out of that 9-2, you're looking like you have a chance to be one of the better teams in the state, competing for a state championship. Copper Hills, they're 6-3. They've been solid, but not quite the non-region slate that Corner Canyon's had. So big surprise.
Yeah, we're underway here in the third quarter. Sorensen into the high post, back to Moyer. And here's Sorensen again. Langston off the dribble handoff from Quincy Hills. Gets to the low block, back to Moyer, open look for three. Yes, sir! It just continues. 16 for Moyer.
If you're Corner Canyon, normally you live with that, but it's Moyer's night, so everything's falling.
In transition, Hymas to Moyer, no. A rare miss at the bucket, and then the turnover the other way by Hills. His outlet pass deflected back. And here comes Toombs. And he'll slow it up and give it back. A three on the way. No good. Toombs the offensive board. Scoop layup, no good. Farrell fighting for the rebound. Gets out of the dust cloud with it. Toombs on the block against Hymas. Goes up. Got it deflected. No call. Here comes Hills. Hymas in transition. Back out. Sorensen for three. Bingo! Time out called by Corner Canyon. And if you look down here at Dan Lunt, he's asking the official where the foul was on the last play on Max Toombs, and it's clear Lunt is not happy right now.
Max Toombs has been struggling to get it going all night, been forcing it a lot inside. That last possession, we saw him go inside twice. Missed the first one pretty badly. They hustle for the offensive rebound. Toombs tries to force another one up. No contact. Ref's not going to call that if you're going in out of control.
I'm stunned. Who said this was coming? I mean, it's a 27-point game, and Luke Moyer and Kyson Hymas have combined for 27 of the 45 points.
We saw in that last possession that forced Corner Canyon to call a timeout with so much attention on Hymas tonight, his ability to get to the basket. that help defense slides over. You got to double him. Sorensen just slides up, and Hymas, keeping his head up, makes the dish out. Sorensen's wide open, the best three-point shooter on the team. Hymas is causing all sorts of these matchup problems tonight for Corner Canyon.
Here's Farrow out front. Back to Roberts. Burriston drives in the high post, kicks it back out. Toombs puts up the three. Off the right rim, no good. And we're going to get a loose ball foul underneath. That's going to be called against Quincy Hills, and that is his third. And immediately, John Watkins responds by bringing Hayden Shepard back on the floor. 45-18 with 6:16 left in the third as Burriston buries the three from the corner.
Nice to see Burriston get going, get one through the hoop. Not much going for him tonight, but he is one of the best three-point shooters for Corner Canyon. See if we can get him going in the second half.
We're going to get a foul here away from the basketball. That's going to be called against Jaden Farrell. That is his second. 5:56 left here in this third quarter. And don't adjust the television set or the computer or wherever the heck you're watching. I mean, that's the score. 45-21. Moyer in the high post. Nice cut up to the basket. And Hymas hammers it down with two hands.
It's been that kind of night for Moyer and Hymas. It has been an unbelievable display of two-man basketball. Hymas reads the back door wide open. Moyer gets the cut and a finish for Hymas.
That is what you call, Tyler Gibb, a statement dunk by Kyson Hymas. My word. Toombs out front against Hymas now. Hymas defending Toombs well. Step back three. Well short.
Toombs is forcing it now. Hasn't been able to get anything going. Still stuck at 3 points. Copper Hill's bench is over there, rolling on the floor with the air ball. It's just not a great night for Toombs, but he is, one of the better players in the state.
One field goal for Maxwell Toombs. Langston off the key. Sorensen misses the three, and we're going to get a traveling violation called against Sorensen. Meanwhile, checking back in Corner Canyon, Tate Staley comes back on the floor. Son, of course, of former BYU running back and Doak Walker Award winner Luke Staley, who I'm sure is watching somewhere tonight. And I'm sure Tyler probably, just like us, stunned and less than pleased with his performance as Burriston floats it in.
A lot of jaws dropping tonight at this result.
Traveling violation on the Grizzlies, charger ball.
Just moving a little bit too fast, starting to force things. You have the big lead, no need to rush it. Just slow it down, get the offense set, work your way for an easy bucket.
4:41 left to go here in the third quarter. 47-23 Copper Hills. Staley out front. Here's Farrell. Spins in the paint. Scoop layup will not go. Tapped up on the rebound, captured offensively by Roberts. Gets the flyby and the three by Burriston off the back heel of the rim. And Langston fighting for the rebound, gets it. And Staley commits the foul. .418 left to go in this third quarter. 47-23 Copper Hills. Langston right of the wing. Back to Moyer on the high post. Nice move to the baseline. Floats it up. Rolls off the rim. And Burriston the rebound. And he will wisely slow it down and into the front court. Well, I shouldn't say wisely, Tyler. You're down by 24. You got to look to push the pace a bit.
If you're going to get back in the game, it's going to come in transition, getting easy buckets and working your way to the free throw line. That's going to open up a lot more space. They have been doing a better job of getting to the foul line in the second half, but still a little sloppy turning the ball over.
You know, Tyler, as we're talking about the transition game as Burriston rattles out the first free throw. That seems to play more into the hands of Copper Hills, because that was what we talked about in our one of the keys to the game was to stop the ball, because this Corner Canyon team, as Burriston makes a second, you kind of question if they're equipped at this point to stay in a track meet with the Grizzlies.
If you're going to beat a team like Corner Canyon this badly, you're going to have to get a lot of easy buckets, a lot of quick buckets. You have Toombs and Farrow who put up a lot of points for Corner Canyon, but Copper Hills has really just got things moving too fast for those guys to find a rhythm.
Luke Staley picks up the foul behind the play on McCoy Langston. And as Langston steps to the line and makes the first, Tyler, it's just hard to believe that McCoy Langston only has 3 points. Quincy Hills has no points. And yet, Copper Hills is doubling up Corner Canyon right now, up by 24 points.
Right, we expect Luke Moyer to get his fair share of the load. Averages over 14, leads the team. He's at 16 right now, but it's been an all-around balanced performance led by Moyer and Hymas. They've really led the way, and they've started to create those easy buckets for their teammates, as we've seen Sorensen pour in a few threes and other guys starting to get involved.
Roberts the other way in transition, spins in the post, up and under move, count it, and the contact.
That's the first time we've seen Roberts get inside for a bucket. I really like what I've seen through him so far this year, being able to get inside, create buckets for his teammates, but hasn't been able to penetrate at all on the defense. Gets his own rebound.
How about the hustle there from Roberts to get the rebound on that? Tries to go up strong, can't finish it, but again he gets his own rebound. Harris in the high post, back to Burriston. Burriston lost it on the floor, back to Harris, wide open three. Rolls off the front of the rim, Staley charging in for the rebound, but it kicked off his own foot out of bounds. It will go back to Copper Hills. 2:57 left here in the third, 49-26. Has not really changed much, this deficit, the amount of this deficit for Corner Canyon. Shepard fakes the three, steps into a 15-footer, rolls off the front of the rim, charging for the rebound, Whitehour, back to Sorensen. Yes!
Sorensen's got one of the buttery, silky smooth shots. And that right there, offensive rebounds, that leads to great opportunities for three, and Sorensen was waiting.
Moyer with the block there on Roberts. Sorensen is 12, all from beyond the property line. Shepard back to Langston. He'll pull the long-range triple, and he knocks it down! What a performance for Copper Hills. Roberts charges in, gets the contact and the count it. With 2:02 left in the third, Tyler Gibb, it is 55-28. Who is this team?
It's just that kind of night, Alex. Copper Hills is getting everything to fall. You know, they're getting the offensive rebounds and they're finishing on those opportunities. Anytime we see Corner Canyon look like they, have a second chance opportunity, a chance to trim the lead, they haven't been able to capitalize. It's just been a night of two opposites.
Hymas down the lane in transition. Every player on the left side of the scoreboard has single-digit points. And Max Toombs, the second leading scorer in the region, has 3. Wow. Unbelievable. Langston to inbound, and we're going to get a timeout called as Shepard hits the deck behind the play with 1:50 to go. They'll wipe the 5-second count off. It is a 30-second timeout, so we will keep it here. And by keeping it here, Tyler Gibb, I do mean keeping it here and trying to gather our thoughts of this just dominant performance by Copper Hills. I don't know if there's any more synonyms in the dictionary to describe unbelievable, but that's what it is.
And all night, right, we haven't seen an answer from Corner Canyon. You keep waiting for that moment where Corner Canyon makes a little run. You see Copper Hills waiting to see Copper Hills get sloppy with it, and we haven't seen any of that. It's been the same story all night. Copper Hills has controlled the tempo. They've controlled the physicality from the get-go. Corner Canyon hasn't been able to get anything going.
Langston in the high post, and he walked. And Dan Lunt finally up here down the sideline pacing a bit, but this is a guy that in his 6th year, 93-47 overall coming into this game, was the head coach at Payson before taking the Corner Canyon job back in 16. And Tyler, he's taken this team to the state semifinals in 17 and 18, to the state championship in 19. And he's had a pretty impressive resume, but I don't think he's had many nights like this as a Corner Canyon head coach, as we're going to get a foul on Taylor Harris.
Corner Canyon getting frustrated. They didn't want a foul call there, so they're trying to force some turnovers and work their way back into it. But you're right, Dan Lunt, one of the better coaches that we see. Corner Canyon, they've been a powerhouse both in football but also in basketball lately. They've really taken over the state on both of those sports as far as one of the more well-known names. You don't see many nights like this for Corner Canyon.
You also don't see many mistakes like that from Copper Hills tonight, as the inbound pass was thrown out of bounds in the direction of Hymas. Turns back over to the Chargers. As Dan Lunt again stands up to our far side. Here's Toombs in the corner. And we're going to get a block-out foul called on Whitehour down on the baseline. 1:15 left here in the third. 55-29 is our score. And if you're a Copper Hills or rather a Corner Canyon fan and still watching this broadcast, we commend you, because it has been a difficult night to watch.
And if I am Corner Canyon, I'm not going to read too much into this game. We saw Copper Hills have this same type of game last week against Farmington, and now they come out and they put the Ritz on Corner Canyon tonight, as we've got an injured player.
Yeah, we do.
Logan Whitehour, he was down on the ground telling coach he's okay, but they're gonna take him out of the game. But look for Corner Canyon. It's not a region game. You know, you're coming into region play. Obviously, you don't want to start region play on this note, but you have time to turn it around. You can bounce back. It's your first game in 21 days. Better for this to happen now than to happen in a couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely true. Grover and Pomerenning check back in. Here comes Hymas into the corner, and Shepard will shovel it over to Pomerenning. 45 and counting left here in the third. Hymas against Staley. Into the low block. Here's Nordgren, and we're going to get a block-out foul. No basket with 34 and 7/10. And as we see that, we're looking to my left side right now, and Logan Whitehour is heading over to the Intermountain Sports Medicine table, and it looks like they're working on that right ankle. It looked like he was favoring it, Tyler, coming off the floor. He was limping a bit. He might have landed on it awkwardly. He could have also landed on somebody's shoe.
Yeah, looks to be the right ankle. He's taking his sock off now. Maybe tape him up. Doesn't look like it'll be anything super serious, but you don't want to risk anything in a 26-point game.
Here's Toombs the other way, coming right by him, and he's fouled, and he will get to the free throw line with 18 and 2/10 left here in this third quarter. We'll definitely keep an eye on that, as Toombs will head back to the free throw line. Langston and Hills getting ready to check back in for John Watkins. Toombs with just 3 points tonight, and he hits the first. 55-30. And if anybody here in the gym is reading the scoreboard, our scoreboard's correct. The Corner Canyon Charger Arena scoreboard is not correct. Now it is.
I like the move by Watkins to put the starters back in the game for the final possession. Only 18 seconds left. They're probably not going to play much in the fourth quarter, but just get a good last possession.
Here's
Try to end
Hills.
the quarter on a high note.
Well, let's see if they can do it. Hills is one of the few that's not on the score sheet right now. He's the only starter that hasn't scored. Behind the back, goes to the bucket, cannot finish, but he does draw the foul. Well, he was trying hard right there, as it looks like Johnny Watkins is going to empty the bench. With still 2 seconds left here in the third quarter, and I'm looking at that Corner Canyon bench right now, Tyler. There are a lot of heads hanging down right now, just stunned. Hills makes the first.
A lot of slumped shoulders, elbows on the knees, trying to figure out what's going on. Interesting move there by John Watkins to sub back in after just barely subbing in all his starters. He then takes them all to the bench with just 2 seconds left in the quarter.
Hills misses the second. The offensive rebound by Nordgren misses. And mercifully, the third quarter comes to an end here at a stunned Charger Arena. 56-31, Copper Hills. And we're listening to the Copper Hills student section. Their chants right now, clearly everything going their way. Well, we hope you're still around for the fourth quarter, folks, because we will be as well. We're going to take a quick break. Back in 30 seconds. You're watching Copper Hills basketball on KSL Game Night Live Rewind, presented by Extra Space Storage.
Ouch! Gonna need some pills for that one.
Hey! Prescription pain pills can be dangerous!
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Easy there. You're her parent, not a drill sergeant. More love, then they'll listen.
Know your script. Talk to your kids about prescriptions the right way.
Well, welcome back to Charger Arena for the start of the fourth quarter. And we're listening, of course, to that good old rock classic, Tyler Gibb. John Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. Corner Canyon's going to be living on that the entire fourth quarter here, it looks like. In what has been a most unexpected scoreline, 56-31, as we start the fourth between Copper Hills and Corner Canyon, along with Tyler Gibb. I am Alexander Timolip in the corner. Farrell for three, no good. And Langston the rebound. Langston pull up three. And Farrell vacuums up the rebound. Burriston, he'll try a three. And Hills grabs the rebound. Just underway here in the fourth quarter. Both teams are in the penalties. 1+1. Not like it's going to matter at this point, but you never know. Moyer behind the screen for three. Off the back rim, too strong. Hymas cleans up the spill. He now has 17 points, Tyler. As Toombs misses the three, rat-a-tats around, and we're going to get a loose ball foul called against Jackson Roberts.
Hymas getting his way inside all night. You see there the shot goes up. He just works his way to the weak side, sitting there for an easy putback too. No one's been able to contain Hymas on offense.
Sorensen will step to the line with 6:52 left to go. This will be 1+1, and Sorensen hits the first. He'll get the bonus. 59-31, Copper Hills. McCoy Langston, by the way, only has 7 points. Quincy Hills has a single point. And Sorensen, Hymas, and Moyer, for the viewers at home, have combined for 44, now make it 45 of Copper Hills' 60 points. Toombs drives left-handed off the glass. Count it. And the contact.
That's what we're used to seeing from Toombs, a strong physical attacker. Hasn't been able to do any of that tonight, but at least we see him, hopefully he can start to get back on track, get back to what he was doing a month ago.
He now has 8 points. Most of them have been at the free throw line, as it is 60-34. As Corner Canyon trying to put on some full court press. Moyer underneath, yes. Now that was way too easy. 62-34, Roberts tries to answer back. He certainly can. (62-37), Roberts is 8. Here comes Hills speeding the other way. And the pass deflected out of bounds. Who to go off of? One umpire looks at the other, says, I got it going off the blue guys. And that's what the official calls. 6 1/4 to go here in the fourth. 62-37 in favor of Copper Hills. Farrow into the paint, and we're going to get looks like a foul against Quincy Hills. It is, and if that is against Quincy Hills, that is number 4. Well, I guess, Tyler, in a game that's pretty much out of hand at this point with 6 left here in the fourth, you can afford things like that if you're John Watkins.
That's right, you can. And Moyer, he stands at 6'6". Farrow, he's 6'8". He's got 2 inches on him, but Moyer makes up for that in just his build. He's a thick, strong guy. You see Farrow hasn't been able to work around him much tonight. Impressed with Moyer and his ability to control the paint, even though he's given up a couple inches in size.
Again, we remind you that if you're here in the arena watching the stream, the bug on our score is correct, 62-39. The scoreboard is not correct here inside Charger Arena. It says 64-37. It's actually 62-39. So the officials will get that straightened out, I'm sure. Langston into the corner. Sorensen has his 3 blocked. Toombs tried to save it. He did to Burriston. And that outlet pass stolen by Hymas. Great crossover dribble. 3-on-1 the other way. Behind the back. Moyer, floater. Yes!
It's showtime tonight for Moyer and Hymas. They are putting together some fun basketball. We saw Moyer feed Hymas for his, dunk in the third quarter. This time we see Hymas return the favor. Hits Moyer in transition with the behind-the-back pass.
What a pass by Kyson Hymas.
It started the first points of the game for Copper Hills. If you remember Moyer, he was inside in the paint. Hymas cuts back door, sees an open lane, and Moyer's playmaking ability allows him to hit Hymas for that easy bucket, and it's been continuous all night. We see those two, that two-man game, just cutting and moving and finding each other. The chemistry between those two is building.
I mean, you talk about a clinic, Tyler Gibb. I mean, they are putting on, I don't think the word show or showtime is even adequate enough to describe what we're seeing. We're seeing just a masterclass by those two right now. 20 for Moyer, 15 for Hymas. And this just keeps getting better and better. Case in point right here. Guess who?
It's like they have an earpiece in, just hearing us talk about the two-man game. We see Moyer feed Hymas there as he gets cut into the basket.
Maybe you and I should do the Copper Hills games more often. Things will happen like that. As Toombs is fouled, and if that's on Quincy Hills, that is. And he has officially fouled out of the game with 5:14 left to go, but Copper Hills is already up by 25. And now, Tyler, if I'm looking right, it looks like Hills is a bit shaken up.
He was bending over on, he was holding his knees. Looks like he may have just been frustrated. He fouled out and has to go to the bench. Once he got up, seemed to be okay. Definitely don't want to lose Hills if you're Copper Hills.
66-43 now as Toombs hits both free throws. By the way, Logan Whitehour has returned to the bench for Copper Hills as that pass deflected and stolen away by Donovan Averett. Here comes Toombs. Toombs drives, Wild pass, gets it to Averett though. Roberts. Cross-court swing, Burriston open three. 66-46, the lob and the finish. Guess who it is? I mean, we don't even need an introduction at this point for both of them. We'll just assume that they might just give it to those two the rest of the way as Burriston hits another three. And a quick timeout is called by Corner Canyon.
What a treat it has been to see Moyer and Hymas just work the ball down the floor, get running, and you see what happens. If you have that chemistry with each other, you're going to reward your teammates for running the floor, working down into the basket to get an easy two, and that's what we've seen Moyer and Hymas do time and time again tonight. They're making it look easy.
Almost too easy, if you think about it. Full timeout call by Corner Canyon. We'll step aside and be back in 30 seconds. You're watching Copper Hills basketball, presented by Extra Space Storage on KSL Game Night Live, Rewind's coverage of high school sports.
Jake said these are awesome for studying.
Line. You shouldn't ever take someone else's medication.
Know your script. Talk to your kids about the dangers of sharing prescriptions.
Welcome back to Charger Arena, as it's a Copper Hills building tonight with 4.5 minutes to go here in the fourth. 68-49 in favor of the Grizz, as Shepard will get ready to trigger from underneath. And we are going to get a 5-second violation.
5-second violation.
As John Watkins is looking at the official here saying, I wanted a timeout. But umpire says to him, play on, because immediately off that, a turnover right back by Jaden Farrow as he stepped on the sideline.
Moyer looks to be hobbling just a little bit for Copper Hills. We saw him grimace just a little bit as he was coming down the floor. I didn't stop him from giving the Corner Canyon student section a smile as he just walked down to the other side of the court.
And we're going to get looks like a timeout by John Watkins. He's probably seen enough of what's happened here in this last 20, 30 seconds, and it's a 30-second stoppage, so we will stay on the air. Well, as we kind of look ahead here, Copper Hills will be at home next week against West Jordan, Tyler. And that is shaping up to be a pretty interesting one, with these Grizzlies coming off such a dominant win here tonight. You would have to think the Jags are going to be out there on watching the film tonight saying, this is not what we all expected from this game tonight.
Yeah, West Jordan stands at 8-4, and if you were to watch the film from the Farmington game and then watch the film from tonight, you'd wonder, that can't be the same team. It really is, even though it doesn't look like it. The Copper Hills has, they must have figured something out, learned a lot from, what they did to lay an egg against Farmington. So going forward, hopefully they can learn from that and not make the same mistake, come in lackluster with no energy. Tonight they've proven that, they did learn from that.
Sorensen picks up the foul, his third, sends Jackson Roberts to the line. He hits the first. And with 4:07 left, it's now an 18-point game, and this is probably the closest that the Chargers have been in quite a while, as Roberts hits the second. And we're going to get a foul against Max Toombs. The entire Corner Canyon bench erupted as Toombs picks up his third.
Believe it or not, Corner Canyon's actually outscored Copper Hills in the second half. They just started down by 21 points. You can't do much when you're down 21 going into the break. So they have played with a lot more energy in the second half. You have to be pleased with that, but you can't come out for a whole 16 minutes to start the game and play with the type of energy that you did. It's hard to win that way.
Yeah, it does look like, Tyler, they're starting to finally pick up the pace. Underneath, Toombs to the basket, left it short. Shepard gets the rebound. Here comes, guess who? Hymas to Sorensen, fakes the three, drives inside, dish to Moyer, up, and in. .24 for Luke Moyer. Burstyn crossover, step back three, rattles out. Langston the rebound. 3:25 left here in the fourth. And Roberts with the steal. Hymas coming back, chasing him down! And he did enough to alter the shot. Langston to Moyer, drives down the lane. Count it, and the contact! It's Luke Moyer's world. We're just living in it tonight, Tyler.
Moyer gets the and one call, standing right in front of the Copper Hill student section, looks at his classmates and gives them a too strong.
That foul is on Max Toombs, his fourth. Make it 27 for Luke Moyer. Roberts tries to answer. No. Langston the rebound. Langston to Moyer, inside, blocked by Farrell. That's about the only thing I think that's gone wrong for number 25 tonight. That block right there by Farrell. 2:57 left to go. Langston out front, drives against Roberts. Turnaround shot, blocked by Roberts. Fight for the loose ball, scrap for it on the floor. Burstyn, nice dish ahead. Averett to Farrell.
Nice to see a highlight like that for Corner Canyon. You got to appreciate the hustle. I'd just like to point out Jackson Roberts here in the last few minutes as he gets another deflection that leads to a steal there. He's really shown a few hustle plays, still keeping that fight in this one. You like to see that, get it going to next game.
Look out! And Hymas looked like he botched the layup, and he came down awkwardly on that left foot. And we've already seen Whitehour go out somewhat injured. That cannot be a good sign.
It's those non-contact injuries that you hate to see. He goes up looking for a dunk, a punctuation mark on his big night, his season high. You hate to see that.
Meanwhile, Toombs finishes through the contact on the other end. 73-55 with 2:05 left here in the fourth quarter. Toombs will head to the free throw line. His shot is good. 73-56. And again, that full court press being put on. Moyer, Shepard, Langston. Back to Whitehour, wide open. No. And Farrell up high for the rebound. As a man in front of him, Roberts kicks to him. Roberts fakes the three, steps into the 20-footer. And Whitehour gets the board. And looking at him run up the court here, Tyler, he's clearly hobbled. And he's calling for a sub. Sorensen, Moyer, inside.
Moyer continues to add to his career high night, 29 points. Both him and Hymas setting their career high, and not just setting it, but blowing it out of the water.
Meanwhile, Toombs gets the and one on Langston, and a step over by him too, perhaps letting out his frustration a little bit as he stepped over top of McCoy Langston. And he'll head to the line. 75-58. Apologies, trying to update the scoreboard here. 73 and counting left here in the fourth. And it does look like it's wholesale substitution time for John Watkins. Langston out, Sorensen out, Shepard out. Pomerenning, Ashton Hawick, and Grover in. Toombs at the line. Completes the three. And now we're going to see a timeout called by the Chargers with 73 seconds left. It's a 30-second timeout, and we'll keep it here.
Believe it or not tonight, Alex, Max Toombs, who had 3 points at halftime, thanks to a big fourth quarter, a couple and ones, he's only 2 points shy of his season average, 20 points. He's got 18 tonight. So but at the end of the night, he got things going, which is a good sign. You know, get that momentum going into region play where he can be one of the more dominant players.
Yeah, and that's kind of hard to believe, though, Tyler, if you think about it, because Copper Hill's just been so dominant all night long that we're all overlooking the fact that Maxwell Toombs is 2 points away from his season average. And I suppose as a neutral watching, you kind of think, well, that's nice, but it doesn't really mean anything. You're right. That could mean a lot come region play.
At the end of the day, this game doesn't mean a whole lot as far as your season goals. As Toombs there makes the hustle play, draws the charge. So you want to just get some positive momentum going into region play. Start working on some of the things that you want to emphasize throughout the rest of the year. And Max Toombs is doing that, being more physical in the fourth quarter, taking to the basket, drawing some fouls. And then he draws the charge there.
Yeah, and taking a big risk, too, because he has 4 fouls as Averett leaves the 3 short. We're under a minute to go now, 55 seconds left. Howick takes it, and now Pomeranning will bring it into the forecourt. Here's Alex Wilcox out front, handing it back to Pomeranning, and now the Grizzlies will just hold the ball. And John Watkins is apparently not happy with that set. He's going to call another timeout. And it's a full timeout, so we'll step aside and be back in 30 seconds. You're watching Copper Hills basketball on KSL Game Night Live Rewind, presented by Extra Space Self-Storage.
Ouch! Gonna need some pills for that one.
Hey, prescription pain pills can be dangerous.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Easy there. You're her parent, not a drill sergeant. More love, then they'll listen.
Know your script. Talk to your kids about prescriptions the right way.
Welcome back to Charger Arena. About to close this one out. Just under 30 seconds here in the fourth quarter remaining. Copper Hills leads Corner Canyon 75-59. In a game that, Tyler, we thought on paper was going to be close, but clearly one team came ready to play the other. Well, needless to say, they look like they haven't played in 21 days.
It's been in every facet of the game that Copper Hills has dominated tonight, offensively, defensively, in transition. This is one of those games for Corner Canyon that you just put in the rearview mirror, put it away, don't think about it, just learn from your mistakes and come out ready to play next week in region.
And speaking of region, Tyler, Corner Canyon gets American Fork next. And meanwhile, Copper Hills, as Ashton Howick makes the first free throw, will play their annual, I don't want to say rivalry, I want to say almost a renewal of hostilities with crosstown rival West Jordan next Friday. Of course, I'll be at that game. And of course, here's to hoping it's a closer contest than this one. Roberts to the basket, no. Averett tries to follow up, and he's fouled. Clock reached 29 and 6/10 seconds left to go.
And looking ahead for Corner Canyon, well, you're in a strong region. You look up and down the board: Pleasant Grove 10-2, Lone Peak 8-2, Skyridge 8-2, Westlake 8-3. They get a start with American Fork, who so far this year has been the weakest team in the region, standing at 5-6. So that is going to be a nice game. Find a rhythm, hopefully, come out stronger so that when you do face that gauntlet of a region schedule, you're ready.
Yeah, but the parity is just so, Tyler, is just so unclear, even in region play. I mean, even the teams at the bottom can give you a difficult time.
Once you get into region play, You know, you've grown up around a lot of those players. You've played them a couple times a year, you know, in your previous years in high school. So you know a lot about your opponent most of the time going into region play. Anything can happen.
Averett off the takeaway, gets it poked away. Grover has his foot go on the line with 8.8 seconds left here in the fourth, 76-63. Copper Hills will improve to 9-3. Corner Canyon likewise will drop to 9-3. Roberts underneath, no. Comes back out, 3 seconds, Toombs for 3, left it short, and the buzzer sounds. That's the end of the game. An impressive win for the Copper Hills Grizzlies. They defeat Corner Canyon 76-63. As we said, both teams improve to 9, or one team goes to 9-3, the other one falls to 9-3. Wow, Tyler. Don't think we expected that.
We did not. The big story of the night, we've been talking about it. Luke Moyer and Kyson Hymas, they dominated this game. At the end, the thing you're worried about for Copper Hills, what is the status of Kyson Hymas going forward? We see him do a slight jog with a limp off the court, but he went down on a dunk attempt. No contact, just jumped up. Something happened to his knee. You hope he's okay going forward. One of the better playmakers on this team. He seemed okay going to the locker room, like it won't be anything serious. Let's hope that's the case.
And Tyler, we also must point out the status of Logan Whitehour, who we just saw walking off the court down to our left side. He was still limping coming off the training table down here. So 2 key players for Copper Hills potentially could be on the shelf for their next game against West Jordan, and that could be a huge matchup for John Watkins.
Whitehour is one of the more important reserves. It looked like an ankle, his right ankle. He went down, stayed on the ground for a little bit, tried to talk the coaching staff into staying in the game, but they wouldn't let him. Got it taped up. Let's hope he's okay.
And as for Corner Canyon, let's add some final thoughts on the Chargers. Like you said, this win probably won't matter as much in the rearview mirror, but there are a lot of things that I'm sure Dan Lunt's going to talk to his team about that he was not particularly happy with, particularly that start to the game when they were just sucker punched right at the start.
Easy fixes for Corner Canyon if you can come out of the gate hustling, playing defense, scrappy. We didn't see that from them. They were getting beat up and down the floor. If they can fix those things, you're going to need a more efficient night from Max Toombs and Jaden Farrow if you want to compete in your region. But just, it starts with hustle. Easy baskets will come. You play some defense, create transition buckets. Those will come.
Well, John Watkins in his third year, 35-19, now 36-19. This is a guy that's been a part of this Copper Hills program for 12 years before being promoted to head coach in 19. He had an 8-2 region record in each of the first 2 years. And you have to think, a win like this tonight, wow, this could go a long way for Copper Hills in the rest of the season. But now the question becomes, Tyler Gibb, what does Copper Hills do for a follow-up next Friday?
That's right. We saw them sluggish in their Christmas hangover just 8 days ago. They had 8 days to think about that. It was simmering and marinating all week, I'm sure. These guys couldn't wait to get back out on the floor, get rid of that sour taste. They showed it. Now, can you carry that forward and have back-to-back strong performances?
They'll have to. They have a really good team in West Jordan coming up next Friday. Of course, I'll be there for that game. And Corner Canyon will head to region play to play American Fork also on next Friday. Let's give you some final stats here. Max Toombs, 1 point short of his average, 19 points. Not a very efficient night for him. But Jaden Farrow was nowhere to be found tonight. And you, again, have to credit that to the two-headed monster of Kyson Hymas and Luke Moyer. Moyer with 29, Kyson Hymas with 19. I mean, it's hard to lose when you have 58 of your 76 points coming from those two, the most unexpected guys in the lineup, Tyler Gibb.
It was the playmaking that got it started from the very get-go. They were making plays for each other, creating for their teammates. When you're doing that, it puts the defense on their heels, creates baskets for everybody. And those two were just picking this Corner Canyon defense apart. We saw it all night. they had a rhythm going and they couldn't be stopped.
Folks, I want to throw a disclaimer out here. If we sound like we're talking too much about Copper Hills, on a night like tonight, you can't help but do so. What a astonishing performance by the Grizzlies tonight here. Again, the final 76-63. Tyler, it was a pleasure, but what a stunning performance, my friend. What an absolutely stunning performance.
It was fun to watch the two-man show of Moyer and Hymas. You got great basketball from Copper Hills. This Corner Canyon team, I'm not too worried about them moving forward, but it really was a show tonight. It was Copper Hills night.
It really was Copper Hills night. And we want to thank all the men and women behind the scenes, especially our good friends, and especially Tino, our cameraman, and of course, on our colleagues back watching across the state, and Dusty Litster and Dane Stewart, and for Vince Francis and all the entire crew. For my broadcast partner, Tyler Gibb, I'm Alexander Tumulip. You've been watching KSL Game Night Live Rewind's coverage of high school sports. This has been Copper Hills Basketball presented by Extra Space Storage. Again, the final. The Grizzlies of Copper Hills 76 and the Chargers of Corner Canyon 63. Again, for all of our men and women on the crew and behind the scenes, my name is Alexander Tumulip. Malama pono, ke kahi I ke kahi. Take care of one another until we meet again, everyone. Aloha and good night.